As today's stories push the boundaries on who rescues who, what exactly is sexy, and if you even need sex for something to be romantic, who gets to decide what is romance? I'm Amanda, this is Most Bookish, and today we are talking romance. Because clearly these designators matter, especially in the publishing world. When fantasy came around and it got a little too romancy, they were not allowed to just be put in the romance section. They had to create a whole new category for them, romantasy. Now, in bookstores, you're not going to find romantasy books in the romantasy section. And these things have changed over time. For instance, if you were in the 90s, you knew how to identify romance immediately. If Fabio was on the cover, it was romance. We're talking about the era of the J's. Jude Devereaux, Julie Garwood, Judith McNaught, Johanna Lindsay, Brenda Joyce, last name counts, and the Miss D, right? Miss Steal if you're nasty. It was generally, at least in popular culture, male-female. The man had more money. The woman was always a bit alluring. There was the meeting, the instant infatuation, the misunderstanding and mistreatment, the breaking apart, and then the passionate coming back together. A man's large britches, let's say. Also, don't forget virginity, because that was a big one. Obsessively, weirdly so. Broadly, from there, we kind of moved into the vampire love area. Hello, Interview with the Vampire. Hello, Twilight. We also sprinkled it with some bubbly love, like the Sophie Kinsella's with her Shopaholic series. And once we realized that love could be with anyone, alive or not so alive, it opened the floodgates to all kinds of representation. Non-sexual love, interspecies love, found family love, and finally in popular culture we saw queer love. So the answer to the question of which love is real love, which romance deserves the title of romance to be on the romance shelf, I don't think actually has anything to do with any of those identifiers. I think the answer, at least in my very humble opinion, is whether or not the story gives you butterflies, the warm and fuzzies. To speak in modern book talk parlance, if it gives you the feet kicks. Are you kicking your feet? So maybe orcs get your feet going. Maybe bondage and group love do it for you. And maybe slow burn, cozy, they hold hands and maybe kiss by the end, gets your left toes wiggling. I'm wishing all of the flutters that your little heart desires. So with that in mind, I am going to recommend to you some books that hopefully will get at least one of your feet twitching, if not both paddling furiously. Bookshops and Bondas by Travis Baldree. It is orc romance, and don't let that put you off. It's just super cute, and it's a new twist on swashbuckling small town adventure. Next is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is a best friend romance and is as intense as any other kind of romance. It is spectacular. If you miss good old days of the vampire love of yesteryear and you never heard of or really got into the Sookie Stackhouse series, they turned it into a show on HBO called True Blood. The show is wonderful until the last couple seasons. They jumped the shark a little bit, but it is so good. It is so sexy. It's set in, wait, where's it at? It's set in Louisiana, in the bayou. It's a really long series, but all the books are quick reads. There's just great banter, great dialogue, and the characters are incredibly sexy. It's more Interview with the Vampire than Twilight, I would say. So if you like an undead romance, check it out. I don't know what kind of love is in this one, but I want it. It is a kind of futuristic, non-humanoid to some respects, but everything is alive. A love that develops and transcends space and time. This one's very popular online. You will have heard of If You Lose a Time Warp somewhere. And so many people say, I'm not sure what I just read, but it was incredible. It is just so haunting. It's one of the best love stories, one of the most romantic stories I have ever read. Now, if you like your historical romances, but you want a little more history in them, then try out The Darling's Trumpet by Gillian Bagwell. This is a story of Nell Gwyn, who was one of the famous mistresses of King Charles II, notorious ladies man. And this one is like the people who like the Bridgertons, the old bodice rippers, but want extra feet kicks because it's based on a true story. Finally, if you are looking for literally a cutesy beach read, then get Beach Read by Emily Henry. It's a couple people in a beach town who fall in love. The banter's adorable. It'll be a quick, good time, which I feel like I prefer in romances. I don't know if I need it to be volatile and back and forth. When I was younger, I loved that. I don't know if I want that today. Back then, there would be things that the male characters would do that would be atrocious. The women would get mad at them and then they'd beg them, or they'd do something drastic where they'd save them and they would forgive them. And I just don't know if today I would like those men. I don't know if I would forgive those men. So like, how do you have the breaking apart, at least in Victorian times, without it being despicable? You want to know how? I'm going to tell you how. The love story of all love stories, the number one love story of all time to me, and it is Outlander. This has been on Showtime for a while. I think it's still playing. She has been writing these books for a very long time, 20-ish years, I believe. Let's see, when was this published? 1991, more than 20 years. I've been reading them about 20 years, maybe a little less. Jamie and Claire's love affair is my favorite love story of all time. The first 3 to 4 books are some of my favorite books ever written. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the main series, a couple of spin-offs, and a companion to these stories. That's a lot of books for them all to be best love story ever. Story overall is fantastic, and I think her next one is her last one, which is wild that I've been reading them this long, and it's really sad that it's coming to an end. She takes like 5 years to write each one of these. It's crazy. Well, 3 to 5. She took less time before. This has been classified as romance, as science fiction, because there's time travel, as historical fiction, because the Scottish uprising and Culloden, and then eventually you get to the American Revolution. People have not known how to classify them. They're just amazing. But at the heart of them is my favorite love story ever. Since that one is a bit dated, and if you love Outlander too, and you want to go a little retro, like I said, Sophie Kinsella, Confessions of a Shopaholic, so cute. I keep my books, in case you guys didn't know. All He Ever Wanted by Anita Shreve. Anita Shreve had me in a chokehold in the early 2000s. Pilot's Wife, very like soap opera-esque. This is very 90s, early 2000s, obsessive, thriller-ish love. Creepy, I don't know what's going to happen, is this kind of dangerous love. Again, I told you, that's the kind of stuff that I liked. Today, not so much, even though this is very Verity coded, and I did not hate that one. And finally, the most classic J of all time, Judith McNaught. If you want a traditional bodice ripper, you see this lady's name anywhere. This, you know how many times I read this book as a teenager? It's missing stuff. I refuse to throw this away. This shows how much I loved it. It's so problematic. There's so much mistreatment all around in this story, but I loved Judith so much. And if you want a blast from the past, there's just nobody else that I could recommend besides her. Obviously, Danielle Steele. Danielle Steele gets more into like sweeping sagas. Judith McNaught is pure romance, a little spicy. Compared to today, it would not be seen as spicy at all, but she writes more on the same families, and you see the saga. It's much more Bridgerton, or Bridgerton is what Name I Love-esque. And with that being said, we have come to the end, my book friends, and I wish you all of the love, all of the feed kicks, all of the romance, or the friendship, or the consensual coupling, or non-coupling, or communal loving, or hand-holding, or non-touching but smoldering eye stares, or really whatever it is that your heart desires. I will see you in the next one. The next one, I believe, is going to be, I don't know if the next one is Book Talk Classics, because they've been around enough to have their own classics at this point. They are prolific enough and been around enough to have their own. It's probably that one. If not, it's coming sometime soon. So stick around and I'll see you in the next one. And you guys give me all of the feed kicks. So thank you for showing up this time and every time. Bye, book friends.